Greetings to all the saints. Happy Wednesday. And thanks for joining us, tuning in again from wherever you are this week. I hope you and yours are doing well. I am starting again from a reading from Bread for the Journey. This is Henry Nouwen on the subject of wounded healers. Nobody escapes being wounded. We are all wounded people, whether physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. The main question is not how can we hide our wounds so we don't have to be embarrassed, but how can we put our woundedness in the service of others? When our wounds cease to be a source of shame and become a source of healing, we have become wounded healers. Jesus is God's wounded healer. Through his wounds, we are healed. Jesus' suffering and death brought joy and life. His humiliation brought glory. His rejection brought a community of love. As followers of Jesus, we can also allow our wounds to bring healing to others. I think this is a fascinating idea of allowing God to use our hurts, our woundedness. So often our impulse is just to hide anything that hurts us, is to ignore it, it's to play through the pain, it's to tough it out. In our society, we usually feel, and sometimes we're even literally told, don't let them see you cry. We're ashamed to admit that we're anything less than perfect. And we probably think that's because nobody will accept us in our brokenness. And maybe there's a little bit of truth to that. People are not always the most forgiving and understanding. Sometimes we can be downright awkward when we run into somebody else who is going through something that we can't understand or relate to. But I was recording another meditation earlier this week, and I made the comment that everybody hurts. Like REM says in the song, everybody hurts and everybody cries sometimes. It's part of being human. And pain isn't necessarily pretty, but what comes from it can sometimes be absolutely beautiful. The compassion, the understanding, the empathy, the healing that are shared when people around you begin to recognize what you're going through, the way that you're hurting, and they come alongside you to lift you up. Nobody escapes being wounded. Everybody hurts, but we don't have to hurt alone. And even better, as Nouwen points out, sometimes our woundedness is exactly what somebody else needs in order to heal. Sometimes our pain is what can help someone else get through their pain. When I was 11 and my parents got divorced, I really leaned on another friend of mine who had been through the same thing a couple years earlier. His encouragement was invaluable to me. When I was in seminary and I got dumped by the then love of my life, I was stunned by the understanding and the graciousness that one of my professors showed to me. A professor who had certainly been through the same thing himself at some point in his life. When I was overwhelmed by the challenges I faced in my first church call, I was ready to give up on ministry altogether. It was a chorus of pastors and peers who had wrestled with the same kind of self-doubt and the same feeling like they just couldn't hack it that got me back on my feet again. Our wounds, our hurts, don't have to be sources of humiliation and shame. They can be sources of healing if we choose to let God use them this way. So let's push back a little bit against this cultural preference we seem to have for strength and for toughness and for always presenting an image of being happy and healthy and whole. We are wounded people, and that's okay. Because we're all wounded. We are all hurt. Let's be honest about it. We've faced things we wish we hadn't. But because we have, we are now the very person somebody else needs in order to help get them through facing that same thing, to help them through their season of struggle. And friends, if we are willing to open up like Jesus himself, we can allow our suffering to become a source of community and healing and life to others. Friends, may God bless you through your hurts today. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Pastor Dave here at St. Andrew Presbyterian in Lynchburg, and this has been your weekly devotional for all the saints. God bless.